No, from our sources, they decide who they like best, and then they throw their weight behind them. And these people own the media, they own the big corporations, they've got trillions of dollars together. And when you get the nod from the big boys, you tend to get the support. And so if anybody's at the top of the pyramid, it's these guys. Do they have total control over society? No. They have total control over all the candidates? No. But they're steering it. They're massively influencing. There's no doubt they're influencing. There's no doubt they're herding and corralling. Do they have total control? We can't prove that.
So, have you been inside? Were you able to see anything inside?
Yes, but let me just go back and say something since you just mentioned that. You've been asking for proof of their power.
Yeah,
sure. Well, I mean, the BBC has done reports with the minutes of Bilderberg. It was about 5 years ago. From the 50s, from 54, 53, 54, 55, 56, when it first started. And they set up the European Union. They said by stealth, a plan. They set up the North American Union under the SPP. We sued, Judicial Watch did, under FOIA request. We got the documents and their first minutes of their meeting, with Bilderberg members running this U.S. meeting. They break off and go run other groups, saying we got to keep this secret from the public. That was on the agenda from the September 23rd, 2006 Security and Prosperity Partnership meeting. So the point is we've got minutes from Bilderberg. Jim Tucker has snuck in and stolen the list, stolen the minutes. He's been arrested. I've been detained. I've gotten stuff out of their garbage. Other people have gotten stuff out of their garbage. We have sources inside.
You said you've been detained?
Yes, that was in Canada 2 years ago for 15 hours. But you were asking another question. I'm sorry.
Yes. Let's see. Have you seen anything inside? Were you able to go inside?
They kick you out sometimes on the Wednesday, sometimes on the Thursday. This year, it started officially Thursday at 12 noon. And so I flew in Tuesday, and I was here Tuesday night. I was here Wednesday, and I left Thursday morning. So I was basically inside the hotel for 2 days. And we were harassed everywhere. We weren't allowed to ever videotape. But we had hidden cameras and got footage of the big meeting rooms and the halls. I was able to videotape out the window of my hotel room as their advanced team, Secret Service arrived, military intelligence arrived. We got their plates. We were able to get all sorts of surveillance trucks. I was able to walk around the hotel and go into meeting rooms where they'd have computers up, listening to phone lines. In fact, I was able to get up beside a wall with a door, and I even got some audio of this. And they're in there they're arguing about you're running too many phone lines through that hookup. They were calling it a tap. And he's saying, well, I'm sorry, our Army systems normally can take this many feeds off the satellites and out of the telecoms, meaning the telephone companies. And then they're talking about, okay, I'm getting one of them now. They're moving. They're in this part of the hotel. And so they were live, jacked in to the National Reconnaissance Office, the NSA, live, jacked in with, I guess, omnibus national security warrants, listening, and they were right there in the hotel doing this so they could direct security. They had their command base to direct at least security for one intelligence agency. There are a lot of overlapping programs here. They got infiltrators, spies. They got people trying to provocateur us, asking us if we want to engage in violence. This gentleman went in there a few weeks ago, videotaped it with his wife and children.
Just me.
Yeah, no, Adam did, and then they came to his home with his wife and children, and off his YouTube video, and asked him why he was there, if you want to talk to him. But I was inside. I saw it. It was absolutely amazing. We have photos, videos of all of this up on prisonplanet.com and Infowars.com, and Epoch Times is welcome to use any of the Bilderberg photos that are credited to us that are posted on our site.
Oh, so thank you very much.
You bet, sir. And if you want to, you probably don't want to photo me, you probably got one of the crowd, but if you want anything else, I can answer it.
Sir, is there anything that you want to say especially to Americans, about this group? Why do you think that this group may be a threat to national security and our Constitution?
David Rockefeller, in his own autobiography written 4 years ago, says, we can even give you the page number, we even got a copy of it up there. David Rockefeller, in his own autobiography, said, there are people that believe I'm part of a shadowy international conspiracy to integrate the world into one world government, if you will. And he says, if that's the charge, I say guilty. Richard N. Haas, president of the Council on Foreign Relations, that's more of the U.S. management arm of this group, but he's also in the Bilderberg. He has written Club of Rome documents saying that they're going to use terrorism to take our liberties and fake environmental movement, not real environmental movement, but they're counterfeit, to restrict and control, similar to what the president of Czechoslovakia is saying right now. But he's speaking out against it, calling it a tyranny. Not real environmentalism, but using it as a control mechanism, a fake one, co-opting it. They all write books. Kissinger goes on Charlie Rhodes and says they want a one-world government. And they just do this over and over and over and over and over again. And so there are hundreds of Council on Foreign Relations documents. There are hundreds of Club of Rome. There are Project for American Century documents put out by the President and Vice President. They all call for it. George Bush Sr. called for a new world order. Hitler called for that. It means a one world government, a new world empire. And that's what we're here fighting. We don't want to give up our sovereignty. They want to replace governments because they get to put in their new system that doesn't have checks and balances. Not saying our system's perfect, but the ones that they put in are these regional unelected boards that take local control away, that take national sovereignty away, where you have these global corporations that basically govern with an international law, corporate law, our population.
Sir, have you or anyone that you know approached any of our representatives in Congress about potential threats of this group?
Yes, we have.
Who?
Congressman Ron Paul from Texas. He's also on the banking committee. Has on my radio show and in Congress talked about the threat of international groups like the Trilateral Commission, CFR, and Bilderberg Group. He has questioned Chairman Ben Bernanke of the Federal Reserve in the House Banking Committee about the New World Order and about how they're destroying our dollar and how they're internationalist. And there have been other members of Congress who have now spoken out about it. Ron Paul, the Congressman Ron Paul, also spoke out last year when Rick Perry, in the past they would deny this existed, but Rick Perry told the Dallas Morning News, the Associated Press, the governor of Texas told them, I'm going to the Bilderberg Group in Istanbul, Turkey. And they went to Istanbul, Turkey, and they had the meeting there. And so now, in the past, let's be clear, they said it didn't exist 10 years ago. Then they were still secretive 5-6 years ago. Now they put out press releases and admit what they're doing. A lot of it. And that's because if they could be secret, it was good. Now that they're exposed, they've got to kind of hide in plain sight and say, hey, we're no big deal. You know, they're trying to act nonchalant now.
Sir, have you or anyone here have tried to approach any of the major medias to invite them here to cover this event?
Yes, I, on my syndicated radio show that reaches millions of people, have done that. I've called newspapers.
Which newspapers?
The Fairfax Times, the Washington Post. I called even members of the Council on Foreign Relations and asked them to speak out about it and admit what they were doing. One of them was Rothkopf, head of the Kissinger Group. And I've told my listeners to call all the radio and TV stations. And I've gone on one national show that's covered at Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie, 16 million listeners, and I put a call out there for the press to cover it.
When did you do that, sir?
I did George Norrie's show Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Put the call out all 3 times.
Okay. Has any of those, has any reporters or journalists from there, from any of those organizations, have come to cover this?
No, only the Fairfax Times. The Fairfax Times did come out. She said she was very interested. She was doing the report, but she didn't know if they would let her publish it. She said, and yeah, this was Thursday, and she said it should be in the paper by Saturday. I checked Saturday, it wasn't there. She said if it wasn't there by Sunday, they'd said no.
She means by her managers, right?
Yeah, she said this is very newsworthy. I know, and she said I want to cover this, and then we've got her name on video. I forget it. I don't have it in front of me, but we'll see if it's in there today. If it's not in there today or tomorrow, then the story was killed.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you. What's your name again, sir?
Dumont.
Very nice to meet you, sir. Thank you very much.
Try to get some rest.
I know I look bad. I'm sorry.
Here's a local newspaper.
Yeah, here's a local paper that is reporting on it.
Oh, I see.
Small
Thank you
independent.
very much.
Yeah.
I've got one. Thank you, sir. You're the best. Thank you.